I was super fucking proud of this. I told everyone that I invented this fucking method. And then I read the book, The Animator's Survival Kit, that was written in 1960 something or 1970 something,
Yeah.
and it was there. Can you imagine this?
Welcome to the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we unpack the messy, beautiful intersection of creativity and business with the artists, marketers, and founders shaping our culture. Hey friends, I'm Carl, founder of Epic Made, and I'm the host of the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we share our thoughts on creativity, art, and business. Past guests include Brian Himsek, art leader in gaming, Cheryl Platts, author of the Game Development Strategy Guide, and Fred Seibert, legendary producer behind Adventure Time and Fairly Odd Parents. I'm forever grateful for the supporters of our podcast, and we are always open to more sponsors that align with our creativity. That said, Pixel Retentive is brought to you by the creative gurus at Epic Made. Epic Made is a creative studio that produces entertainment quality animation and illustration for brands who want to stand out in gaming, entertainment, and pop culture. We help companies tell stories that resonate with imaginative audiences and turn viewers into fandom. Whether your brand needs creative strategy, an exciting trailer, a fully animated series, or just some engaging motion graphics, we got you covered. Visit epicmade.net and let's collaborate on your next creative campaign. All right, so with us today, we have Andrey Evdokimov, Facility Animation Supervisor of CG Factory. Sorry if I butchered your name. I tried my hardest. How'd I do that time? Decent? No?
You did it pretty good, surprisingly good.
Evdokimov.
Yes, yes.
There it is. Andrey Evdokimov. I am obviously not of Russian. Never spoke any Russian in my life, but I try real hard. So, Andrey, really pumped to have you on the show. So Andrey began his career in animation in the late 1990s and spent nearly 30 years moving between games, television series, feature films, and large-scale animation projects before returning back to games. His experience spans multiple mediums and production pipelines, giving him a rare perspective on how animation evolves across industries. As both an art and production leader, Andrew brings a grounded understanding of craft discipline and what it truly takes to compete professionally in today's global animation market. Yeah, man. So you've done some pretty impressive things. You've been in all sides of the places where animation lives. So I really just kind of am excited to pry into this today. So I think the first question I want to ask you is what first pulled you into animation, and what transition between games and film do you think shaped you the most over the past 30 years?
Uh, I started like in the last century. I am a dinosaur of animation, like in general.
Sure.
And the first punch in the gut that started all my animation career was the movie Toy Story. I
Oh,
watched the movie Toy Story when I was not a kid, but more like a teenager. Uh, I used to watch this movie, this feature length animation, using the VHS cassette,
yep.
if you remember what it is.
Oh
So
yeah, the 41.
I was blown away by the new world that you can see from the screen, from the ELT screen, not the LCD screen, not the flat screen, but old TV. And I was
Yeah.
blown away, and I was curious how they did this. This is not clearly a puppet. This is not clearly a hand-drawn animation, but it looks so real. So that was my first push into this industry. And in the late 90s, uh, I'm Russian, by the way. You said this, but I'm just emphasizing that I'm Russian. I grew up in Russia, in Moscow. So there were no literature. There was no schools or universities that teach the computer graphics in the late 90s in
Oh,
Russia. It was something like from another planet. And
right.
I was so excited about these things. And I was lucky enough that I met a guy uh, in the Amiga meetings. You old enough, you should remember the computer called Amiga,
Amiga?
Commodore
Yeah,
Amiga.
I never had
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one, but
So
I'm familiar with it.
I had one, and I was huge fan of video games. And I saw the guy who did like a 3D ball and 3D cylinder and 3D box in the mirror cube using the Amiga's Lightwave software. That was late 90s. And that again blew me away because I just did a simple math. Just 2 plus 2. This is the 3D graphics. And I saw the movie that is using 3D graphics. So I need to learn how to use this thing. So that was my first push. I spent some time just doing my own business, trying to figure out how to work with this software. I did not had any manuals. I did not have any books or lessons or like tutorials. I was not able to read English at that time, so I was just trying, making errors, figuring out what happens when I press this button, when I press this button. So that was pretty fascinating experience. But at the
That's
end, I was able to render the simple geometrical figures like the spheres, cones, boxes, and I even was able to animate them. But because it was late 90s, we spent like I don't know 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours to render one frame, and we
oh my
used
God.
diskettes. That was huge amount of time spent just waiting to frame to be rendered, just to see what happens, what's wrong with this frame. So it was pretty interesting times. Then I found out that there is a PC with Windows. There is a 3D Max instead of Lightwave on Amiga. There's a 3D Max, more advanced software, more, let's say, that friendly for people who don't have like a three universities behind. So yeah, and then that become one of my hobbies. So I started as a self-taught professional, let's say that with the quote, of course. I
Sure.
was young, I was foolish, I was stupid. I thought that I'm a genius. I thought that I can do the same quality animation that I can see in the Toy Story. So
Yeah.
because of that, I applied into the game company in my hometown. They rejected me, of course, because I was not skilled enough and was too young. Then I finished my university. Then I continued to learn this world of 3D graphics and 3D animation. And then I was hired by the advertisement company, like a small local advertisement company, where I started to do the advertisements, like 10 to 15 seconds long, 80s, with computer graphics, with characters that even moved on screen. So I did this, and then I switched to the game development. Uh, I applied to the same game company second time after like a 2 years or 3 years. No one remembered me. Like I remembered everyone who rejected me the first time, but they
Of
don't
course.
remember me. So this is how I started my career in the animation, like in general. And then I just smoothly transitioned from the games with a lot of like a 2D adventure point and click games that was so popular back then in the last century.
Yep.
Then I transitioned to the music videos with all the 3D animation glory. That was the times when the Gorillas project was started.
I was gonna
It
ask if
was
you
like a
messed with the gorillas.
super popular, and because of that popularity of that kind of project, one of famous Russian music producers, he created a Russian project that was something similar, not like direct copy of the Gorillas project, but it was like the same kind of, I don't know, ideology. It was a virtual project, so no one knows who the singer is. All the band members are just the 3D characters, and I was the one who created all these characters, and we created, I don't know, six, maybe seven, or even 10 music videos, like full. CG animated music videos with the characters. We created the lore for all the for these characters, backstories, how they met, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And then I moved to the TV series, and then I moved to the feature length animation. I used to work on two feature length animated movies. I mean, the CG animated movies, and then I traveled to uh, I started to travel around the world. So I spent a lot of time traveling. I used to live in Scotland, in Glasgow. I worked in the pretty famous company called Axis Animation. It's closed. It was closed like something like a year ago or some, or pretty much recently. The studio was closed, shut down because of the crisis, because of the situation on the market itself. But I had a awesome opportunity to work in this company, and then I moved to Canada to the MPC studio that was shut down also, by the way, recently. And the MPC is one
A
of
lot
the
of
biggest
shutdowns going on. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. MPC is like one of the biggest VFX houses in the world, like the double negative, ILM, Beta, and MPC. It was that big. Like you can put them in a line, so they're more or less equal in the size, in the impact to the industry, and it was close to. And then,
wow.
then I worked a lot in Russia. So I was just a tennis ball that bouncing back and forth from one studio to another studio. Not every day I'm switching the studios, but like I'm spending several years in one studio, then switching back to another studio, then switching back to another studio. And I switched not just the studios, but the industries. I switched from the movies to the game development to the uh,
Music.
cinematics for the games to music videos to TV series to TV animated series, back again to movies, and now I'm I'm doing movies again.
I love it, man. It just goes to show that creative storytelling can live anywhere, and especially animation. Like you can apply it in all these different places, and what an exciting journey you've been on. I mean, the deck was stacked against you to start to even get into this type of career. Like you're in Russia as a kid with no access to any of this kind of stuff. It's like literal magic to you the way you described it, right? And
Yeah,
then you taught yourself that you taught yourself, then you learned English, and then you just started like this. That was just incredible. That might have been like the most like amazing starting story I think I've heard on the podcast. Like, let's go, man. And look, now you've
and
worked on Pokemon, and you've worked on Detective Pikachu. You worked on
yeah,
Aquaman. You've worked Destiny 2, which is a great video game. And like, I'm just looking at like the highlights on the idea IMDb page. Like, amazing, man. Guardians, Icebreaker, like all like lots of really cool stuff here, dude. Like, so
yeah.
yeah. So after 3 decades in animation, like what do you think has changed the most in like production pipelines and how things are made, both in games or film or both of them?
As I mentioned before, when I just started, there was no books, there was no universities, there was no schools, there was no like a lot of knowledge accessible to everyone. Uh, and I'm pretty sure it was like that not only in Moscow, not only in Russia, but it was similar situation in the US, in UK, in Europe. Maybe not that bad as in Russia, but definitely it wasn't as good as it is right now. So right now you can choose from wide variety of universities, from the online schools, from the online courses, from the schools. You can pick what you want to learn,
Nothing
but
but
at,
options. Yep.
yeah, lots of options. But at my on my time, it was just me alone in the dark space without anything around me.
with
So
dial-up internet, for the kids that don't
oh
know what that
yeah,
is, like
oh yeah,
your
yeah,
render
yeah, yeah,
time
yeah.
just reminded me of like, oh my god, I gotta sit here for 12 hours to patch my video game, and like nobody can call my house because the internet is connected to the phone line and it is blocked. That's amazing.
And mom yelling, "I need to call."
All the time. I used to, and I had three siblings. Like everybody wanted to use the phone, right? We had one phone, and I was trying to be on the internet all the time.
And continuing to my thought about the lack of the not the education, but more of the foundation of the industry of the profession, I was like witnessing the change that happened during the years, and the more I live, the more I afraid that someone super young, super unexperienced, super like someone who just finished the school or maybe university will outplay me. Like I think about myself that I am a king of the hill because I spend so many time animating, I spend so many time working in different industries. I am like I know everything, but the more I live, the clearer I see that the youngsters, they're so good at the profession when they just graduating from the universities or from the online schools like the Animation Mentor or I Animate, something like this. They're so good, and it's frightening. Even more like
Yeah,
when I just started to work in the Canada in Vancouver in MPC, well, at the times when we worked on the Aquaman and the Pikachu, I was my position was animation lead slash animation supervisor on the project. I was one of the animation leads because it was the project is so big. It's not just one company involved into the production. It's like many companies, and every company has like big teams with more than one animation supervisor, more than one animation leads, and huge animation teams. And when I just arrived to Canada, I was a bit scared because I was experienced enough to be hired as an animation lead and animation supervisor. But at the same time, I was scared as fuck about the people in Canada, in Hollywood in general, how experienced they are. And I'm just arriving from the my motherland from Moscow, and I'm working as animation lead, and I need to not fuck up everything because people around me, they're so cool and so experienced and so talented. I was like in constant stress for several months because I thought that they will fire me because I will fuck up everything, and the junior artist will do better than me. That was my thought, like a constant thought that just rolled over and over and over in my head.
yeah.
And only
That's
after
imposter syndrome.
no, it's not imposter. I know what it is. I know what it is.
Okay.
I have it. I have it. But it wasn't that. It was the realization that my experience, even with my years behind my back, is not like on top of the world. It's just good, and I need to put a lot of efforts to be better than the other people. Because if you're
Oh,
working as a lead, as a leader, you need to lead the team of animators. You need to be fucking good. People should
yeah.
try. So people will trust you. People will listen what you're saying. People will understand that this guy knows shit.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you can't do it, like they also like you don't. It undermines your authority when you don't have the skills to back it up.
Exactly.
I could
Exactly.
totally respect that, and I have some of that as myself as an artist. Like I run a whole team of artists, but I'm not on my art team in the company, and it's the same kind of vibe. Like I feel a need to continue to grow my craft and be talented myself, and surprise them every once in a while with like, yeah, I still got it. Like you know what I mean? And not that like it matters, like because they respect me all the same, but there's something there for sure. I totally get that. So that's really
Yeah.
incredible
Eh,
stuff.
yeah. And because of the fact that I am self-taught, I never had any courses. I never had any university or school I teach a lot right now. I'm doing the lectures, the master classes. I'm doing the mentoring for the Epic Games on a yearly basis. Let's say that they're doing the super cool Unreal Fellowship initiative. It's like uh, 3, maybe 4 weeks, super very intensive course.
Yeah.
And on this course, there are super cool mentors, super cool lectors like me, and
Oh,
the
sure.
students. They're not just the regular amateurs. They're already professionals. They're already established professionals, so they're applying to these courses because they want to know more, dig deeper into the animation, game development, using the rendering lighting in Unreal Engine, something like this. So it's super cool initiative in general, and it's super cool, and I'm super proud that I was picked twice already to be one of the mentors.
And that's incredible. And so like you made yourself into this person totally self-taught, which is wild. And so like as and now you're helping teach other people, which was a resource you didn't have. And so what do you think, how does a proper education in animation shape an animator differently than being self-taught? Is there anything that you've seen there? Does it end up being the same, or is it like, what are the differences?
I can judge by my experience, because I am self-taught, and then I read a lot of books, and then I watched a lot of tutorials, learning videos, and everything else. And I can say that if you're a self-taught like me, then you will spend a lot and a lot and a lot of time. You will waste a lot of time because you will reinvent a lot of wheels.
Uh
I have a super funny story. I'm telling this story like every time I'm talking to someone, like the podcast or maybe on the lectures, on the master classes. So when I was young, I was like 20 something. I just started to do the proper character animation, not just moving the boxes on the screen, but the proper character animation. And after something like a year of working with myself included, without anyone else around me, so I didn't have anyone to ask any question regarding the animation. So I was just all alone, and I tried and failed and tried and failed, and I invented a blocking. You know what it is? The blocking is the animation technique when you're doing the key poses, and every each key pose changes to the another key pose like instantly. It's more or less similar to what you can see in the Spider-Man animation from the Sony Pictures,
yeah,
when
yeah.
it's like a stop motion. So
Yeah.
basically, this is one of the initial stages of the creation of the animation. When you're doing the keyframe animation, you're creating the
Yep.
key poses, and you're doing them in the step mode uh, when the timeline goes like every key pose like changes to another like instantly, like pick, 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 pick,
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
this.
So there's
And
no in
I
between. It's very choppy.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there are no in between, and because of that, it's like much easier to read the poses, read the timing, and the plan the animation, and it makes possible to waste less time planning and experimenting because you're just
Yeah.
doing the key poses and without any in betweens. It's super fast. So I invented this method.
Oh, cool.
I was super fucking proud of this. I told everyone that I invented this fucking method. And then I read the book, The Animator Survival Kit, that was written in 1960 something or 1970 something.
Yeah.
And it was there. Can you imagine this?
Well, you came up with it on your own, but someone else beat you to
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean you didn't invent it for yourself.
but, but I spent a year going
Right.
from the point A to point B. And
Right.
there was if there was a proper education, I don't know, mentor or the school or lessons, that way from point A to point B would be 10 minutes instead of a year. And I spend a lot of time reinventing the wheel. And because of lack of knowledge, lack of experience, lack of literature, or maybe lectures, something like this, I did a lot of things wrong because I came up to the certain level of understanding of what should I do to achieve the result I want to. And I did this wrong because I did this how I thought I need to do.
Right. No,
And
you it's
again, and
that's a
I,
perfect case for education.
yeah. And again, but the good thing is because I did everything wrong, I know how not to do wrong. And
Right.
when I'm reading the book, when the clear explanation of the simple procedure that supposed to be simple, but I spent like hours doing this in a wrong way with like instead of going straight, I did like zigzagging, doing a lot of unnecessary movements. But because I did this, because I came from point A to point B, I understand better the better result.
You
So
understand
so
why a whole lot better
yeah,
because you felt the pain so many times, right? Yeah,
basically
understood.
yes. So maybe it's good to be self-taught.
Well, there's there's got to be strengths and weaknesses to both, right? Like, and that's the nature of everything. Like,
You're not effective until you're reaching a certain point when you're realizing that you're doing everything wrong, and you need to start reading fucking books.
yes. Look, I started my company with no business acumen and like just like, hey, look, I know I can talk to people and I can sell things and I'm good at design and art and like so that was the two skills I had to the table. I didn't have anything else that I needed to build a business, and I had my head in the sand for at least 5 to 7 years. Like, no, I'll figure it out. I'm smart. Like, instead of like getting mentors, instead of reading books and listening to podcasts and like really investing in enriching myself with knowledge so that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel the whole time. And that's I've seen that from my aspect as well, which that makes so much sense. So today like is it's a really competitive landscape out there right now. The world has so much uncertainty and it's insane. Like but like what do you think it takes for someone who actually like someone that says like, hey, I want to be an animator to like versus the person who actually makes it happen? Like what's the deciding factor? What are some things in there you think that actually allow them to make it successful?
It heavily depends what is the final goal. If the final goal is to outplay the Pixar or Disney, then it will take, I don't know, 10 lives,
Right.
one after another. If you just want to be an animator and work in that industry, then probably a year, two, three, four, five, depending of which level you want to achieve and how fast you are. So let's say that you need some kind of talent, probably. Uh,
Sure.
something something similar to, I don't know, perfect pitch. When someone having a perfect pitch, that they can play any instrument, they can recognize the melodies, they can recognize tones easily without any efforts, because this is like one of the talents. And for animation, probably there is a talent for animation, but it's more complex than just like I am talented because I can do animation. No, I'm talented in multiple disciplines. I can play drums, I can play a guitar, I can play piano, I can do acting sometimes, I can do something else, and everything helps me to be a good animator. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's something that you're compiling the pile of different pieces of your talents, and on the top of this pile is the animation. You can't be
Yeah.
just animator.
You have to draw on all the other ways of storytelling and communication and just infusing. I think the thing that makes great animation is infusing like your human experience into these inhuman creatures, these creations you make on the screen, even if it's just a square or a circle or some sort of shape, like how does it interact, how does it tell a story, and what are you leaning on in your experience in your life and your perspective to make that happen. Like even if you're just making a ball bounce, right? Like that's like your quintessential animation test, like thinking about how you would bounce or how a thing bounces, and like you're relying on your observational skills to tell that story in a
There are s-
believable way.
there are so many freaking important things in the freaking bouncing ball, and the people who just learning the animation, they're often skipping this part because it's too boring. It's too simple. Oh, it's just the ball. I don't want to do this. It's boring. I want to do the Pixar movie right now.
Yep.
But no, the thing is, if you can animate the proper bouncing ball, and if you can animate it properly, and it will be appealing, then you're a good animator already, just because you
Yep.
can animate the bouncing ball. And to finish my thought, you can have like just the technical skills to be able to create animation for a year, probably even faster, like several months, if you're passionate enough, if you will spend a lot of time training, learning, repeating the process, trying to create something animatable, then you will do okay animation in the technical point of view in a few months, maybe even faster if you're talented in that field. But the thing is, it's the same with art. You can learn how to draw a picture. You will draw a picture in a good way because you were taught to do this in a certain way, in a certain style, or in a certain technique. But will you be a good artist? Not really. You need
Right.
to have something behind your eyes, something
Yeah.
in your mind. You need to be able to express the idea. You need to be able to, I don't know, show the emotion. Animation is the same as just any art.
Of
You're
course.
not just moving the parts of the body or the bouncing ball or whatever. You're expressing the emotions. You're acting alongside with your characters on the screen.
100%. And these are all infusing your personality into your work, right? I actually was talking about this on my last podcast as well, but it's really important to be able to do that. But I think something that people don't talk about enough, and I kind of heard you kind of edging around a bit, but there, you have these technical skills, and those are massively important, right? You have to be good at the craft. But after you're good at the craft, like the deciding factor of whether or not you get a job or how well you work in the industry is your soft skills, right? Like how well do you communicate? How well do
Of
you
course,
interact with other people? How well do you take criticism? How well do you give criticism? Like how well, because as a leader in the space, like that's hugely important. I've hired artists before that I thought were going to be absolutely game changers for my business because their skills were incredible. But when it got to working with them, they were impossible to work with. We only tried them for one project because they were literally a nightmare to communicate with, both on like timeliness and all that, but also like if I said like, hey, this should be adjusted this way and this is like, it was just fighting and like upsetness and like all this ego, and that stuff doesn't work in a team. You have to be able to work with people. So nobody's creating great animation by themselves. That's something that's so you have to have these good communication skills.
yeah. The higher you're standing on the pile of food, like in the hierarchy inside the studio team or whatever, the more important the soft skills are. Look, if you're on the very bottom of this pile, no one cares how good you're at the communication because you need to do what someone told you.
Yep.
That's the only thing you need to do. I know this is harsh, but that's how it is. The
Sure.
higher the level you're climbing, the more you need to communicate with the horizontal people, like on the same level. You need to communicate with the people above you. You need to communicate with the people below you, and everyone counting on you. Everyone asking you something. Everyone waiting from you. answers, or maybe you need to ask the questions to help yourself to do your job better, because you need to be in a constant conversation, in a constant contact with everyone around you. And the higher you're climbing, the more important this thing is. So yeah, soft skills are super important. And
100%.
even more, if you're having like during my career, I'm almost always need to check the resumes. I need to attend to interviews. I need to interview people. I need to decide, is this guy or girl good enough for the company, for the studio, for the team, for the people where we're hiring these people, these artists, because usually you're hiring not for the company, you're hiring for the project inside the company, especially if you're working in the bigger companies, in the bigger
Right.
studios. If it's not like a five people and the two are directors, if you're working in the studio with like several hundreds of artists, you're always hiring for the specific teams. And you need to know exactly how good this team with the newcomers, what's the agenda inside the team, how they communicate, are they a good fit? I mean, the new people, are they a good fit? Will match the shape that they need to fill in. So yeah, it's like playing Tetris. And usually, if you have two, maybe are like almost equal candidates, or even one is a bit better than the other, but the weaker one in technical point of view is better in the communication,
Yeah.
probably I will hire this guy or
Yeah.
girl or whatever, because if it's easy to communicate with someone, it makes your life easier and their life easier, and the whole project will go smoothly. Just
And
like you said, if the artist is super genius, super experienced, but it's impossible to communicate with him, tell the proper directions or the feedbacks or whatever, you will suffer. He will suffer. Everyone will suffer.
100%. We've all seen that, and it's unfortunate. And yeah, and that person with those good communication skills, the good soft skills, is also probably more coachable, more likely to take hey, a good artist and make him a great artist because they're open and good at communicating. So that's always like I'm always with you on like let's lean in and go for this person that's like got the great soft skills and decent enough work, and we can help them get there. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Having the soft skills, working in the two ways. If you're good at soft skills, then you're not hesitate to ask questions
yep,
and answer the questions at the same time. So because of that, you're learning a lot and you're teaching a lot, because
a
you're
lot more
sharing your
growth.
knowledge, and you're sucking in the others knowledge, because you're not hesitating to ask stupid questions. I'm always telling the newbies, the junior artists, the people who just hire, don't hesitate to ask stupid questions, because they're not stupid.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'd rather you ask the stupid question, we get it out of the way and keep moving than like you make a stupid mistake. Like, you know, for
Exactly.
sure. So how do you define, personally like the relationship between art and production constraints, especially like when deadlines and budgets tighten? Like how do you protect that creative quality in that, doing that dance?
You mean for myself, or for the
I
studio
think
I'm working
I,
in?
I think just in general, like when you're working as a leader on a project, for sure, like with a team.
Uh, if you're doing your passion project without any constraints, without any deadlines, without the budget, like you can do your passion project as long as you can, as long as you want. You can spend as many money as you have or don't have, whatever.
Great
So
answer.
this is a true and genuine art when you're creating perfect something, because you don't have anyone who will stand behind your back and tell you, today is the deadline, the budget
Yep.
is over, we need to finish everything by tomorrow, blah blah blah, that kind of shit. But
Right.
when you're working at the studio, at the commercial project, when there are like a lot of finance, where you need to pay the salaries to the artists, you need to pay everything. You have the client who wants their final product right now. So you need to plan. You need to be able to say to yourself and to everyone else, stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is the minimum acceptable quality. That's the thing that I learned in a hard way. Like, usually
Yeah.
when you're an artist, you're always trying to make a perfect something. Like, you're being assigned for the task, and you're doing and doing and redoing it because you don't like it, because you can see that it might be better, better and better and better. But you're spending a lot of time. But you need someone who will understand that this is good enough. We can do better if we have more time, more budget, more resources,
Right.
whatever. But this is good enough. So basically, I'm usually the one who telling the hard truth to the people who, like, passionate, passionate, passionate. They want to do it one more time because it's not perfect.
And that's such a dance. And you don't ever want to be like, oh, it's good enough, because that feels like undermining. But at the end of the day, like, when creativity and business meet, there has to be a good enough, because if you're putting all this passion and it's all creative, like, it's never finished. If you're like, you could always go, oh, I could adjust this, I could change that, but you're like, the actual return on investment and the actual like viability of the like, at some point the changes you're making are only noticeable to you and the people that are in the weeds of it. Like, someone with fresh eyes on it wouldn't even notice, right? And that's sort of like something we have to catch. I have to catch my team on sometimes. Like, guys, we're like really in the weeds on this, and it's way beyond good enough already. Like, we've got to put the stamp on it and move it forward, you know. So, but hey,
it's
Andre,
it's super. Just final thought about this topic. It's super
sure,
hard to find the sweet spot when it's
it is
good enough, but not, you're not spending too much time and resources and money for nothing, because it's already good enough.
right.
And like, I'm always analyzing what I'm doing, like on the project I'm working on. Like, after the finishing of the project, I'm always finding mistakes and errors and problems for myself, that I made a mistake here. I let the artist to do one more round, and it got better. I mean, the animation got better, but it doesn't worth the amount of time that was spent over the already good result. Or maybe somewhere I'm saying, okay, that's good enough, and it turns out that it's not good enough. Like, when
Yep.
you're watching the sequence, for example, if we're talking about the movies, like a sequence of shots, they're supposed to be consistent in terms of quality. So you need to maintain the same level of the quality. And because you're having like different artists with different skill set, with different ability to do different things, you need to manage them to create the animation with the same, or like close to the same level of quality. And it's super hard because someone is talented and they're doing like a super good animation, and someone is not that talented or not that experienced, but they have like the neighboring shots, and they're doing that kind of quality, and they
Yeah.
can do better. So you need to lower the shot that was done by the super talented artist, because you need to maintain the flat line of the quality, because like super cool looking shot will cast a shadow on everything else. So everything else will look bad because of this one good shot. So that's, again, it's not something like a very creative, very artistic way of making things and thinking about the project. It's more like a business, 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 blah blah blah, money, 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 time, time, time. But the harsh truth is, uh, if you do project in that way, you're trying to maintain the overall quality of animation. You're finishing the work as fast as it's starting to look good. You're doing better product because it's consistent, it looks good, it's done on time.
Yeah, I love it, man. And that is excellent advice. And finding that sweet spot is always a dance for sure. That's an art in itself, right? So, but Andrew, we've come up on time already. This went extremely fast. So before we wrap, is there anyone or anything in your career you'd like to shout out to the audience? Maybe a mentor, valuable resource, or a favorite client?
If we're talking about the animation in general, the online courses, like the Animation Mentor, I Animate, they have awesome mentors, awesome like 1 year long courses or intensive courses for several weeks, several months. They have a lot of different things to learn. I suggest people who want to start animation career go there if they're thinking about the online education, or maybe they're I don't know, local university with the specialization in character animation, for example. And don't do it my way. I mean, don't become the self-taught, especially right now when there are so many learning materials all around in the internet, in the books, everywhere. You can have the your personal mentor. Uh, you can do your stuff in the school or even in university. So, and the other thing is there are like two different like chunks of knowledge. One is the theoretical knowledge that you will have in the school, university courses, whatever, and the other is experience, like your personal experience. If you know how to survive in the team of artists, so basically, after finishing the school or university, it's good to try to apply to the junior position in some bigger studio. You will not have a lot of money, of course, but you will gain a lot of experience how to survive in the new and not so friendly environment, how to maintain the deadlines, how to plan your work, how to communicate with people. That's a super cool, another, I don't know, another grade of the schooling. And especially
Well,
if you have the target, your goal is to be, I don't know, the director or the supervisor, like top position. uh, Usually people on top go into the top from very bottom. So you
yeah.
need you need to step on every step in this ladder.
Well, you got to learn the whole machine and the whole system, right? So, and that totally makes sense. Well, look, this has been an amazing conversation. And again, we've been speaking with Andrey Evdokimov. That was close?
Awesome.
Yes. You can check him out on his IMDb page if you just search him up, and we'll have his name in the listing. But if listeners want to follow up with you directly, where should they go?
Sorry. Yep.
If listeners would like to follow up with you directly after the show, should they email you? Should they hit you up on Instagram, LinkedIn? Like, what's the best place to get in touch
I
with you?
can send you my email, and there is a LinkedIn page,
Okay. All right. Yeah.
IMDb. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. We'll put a link to the LinkedIn page,
yeah,
and then you're also on Instagram. Incredibly underscore lazy underscore boy. Boy with an I, BOI. I'm
yeah.
sure.
But I don't use Instagram like very often. It's mostly
Okay.
for the cats photos.
Got
So
it.
it's
All
not
right. Cool.
something I do professionally.
Got it. So yeah, definitely look him up on LinkedIn then. So all right,
Yeah.
Andrew. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This was a lot of fun. If this episode sparked something for you, please share it with a friend or colleague, and we will see you all next time. Take it easy.
Hey, bye guys.
We really hope you enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe to join us on our next journey through the world of art and business on the Pixel Retentive Podcast.